At exactly 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time, June 21st, 2025, silence broke over Iran. From 30,000 feet above, a 30,000-pound monster was falling. The GBU-57AB, a steel leviathan laced with specialized explosives, plunged through the skies at 700 miles per hour. Its target? Fordo. Not a base, not a barracks, but a nuclear fortress, buried beneath 200 feet of reinforced granite. A place so deep, so protected, that even bunker busters feared it. But this wasn't just any bomb. This was America's answer when diplomacy ends. In just 43 seconds, the mountain would crack. Fordo would vanish. This is part 2 of Operation Midnight Hammer and the final moments of Iran's nuclear shield. The world is about to witness the precision of a superpower that doesn't build free clinics. It builds weapons that defy physics and bury them in silence. But to understand how we got here, let's rewind. Previously in Part 1, the battlefield is lit electronically saturated and moments from implosion. What comes next isn't a warning. It's an erasure. But before the bombs fall, the skies must go dark. Every radar silenced, every missile battery blinded, every sensor jammed or dead. At exactly 1600 Eastern Time, the United States unleashes a second wave, not of bombs, but suppression. Over 60 aircraft, the largest SAYAD package since Operation Iraqi Freedom, a strike formation built not to attack, but to remove anything that could fight back. It's layered by altitude and function and lethality. At 50,000 feet, 4 F-22 Raptors cut circles over the battle space. Air dominance patrol. Their job? Intercept anything that tries to reach the formation. Nothing gets close. At 35,000, 8 F-35As in clean configuration. 4 AMRAAMs each. No bombs, no drag. Their role? Detect, map, and pass targeting data silently across the Link 16 network. At 25,000, dozens of FA-18EF Super Hornets, some armed with AGM-88E HARM missiles. Others fly air escort. Together, they form the strike punch, targeting every known radar site with standoff precision. Trailing just behind 4 EA-18G Growlers, each one broadcasting over 30 kilowatts of jamming power across multiple bands. Radar tracks start to drift. Ghosts appear, then vanish. Fire control systems begin to break down under signal saturation. Orbiting in the Gulf are additional FA-18s on combat standby, while KC-135 and KC-46 tankers loiter over Iraqi airspace, sustaining aerial operations. Overhead, an RC-135 rivet joint conducts wideband ELINT, electronic intelligence, collecting emissions across a 500-mile radius and feeding near real-time intelligence into the strike network. The operational focus is the western quadrant of Iran's integrated air defense network, specifically covering the cities of Isfahan, Esfandabad, and surrounding sectors. These zones host overlapping S-200, SAYAD-2, and radar-guided AAA systems, along with hardened C-2 command and control, nodes embedded in terrain features, and civilian masking. Loadout decisions are deliberate. The F-35As function in passive ISR roles. Their AN/ASQ-239 electronic warfare suites quietly map enemy radar arrays without emitting. Once emissions are geolocated, threat data is passed via Link 16 to the strike aircraft. The Super Hornets deliver the primary SAYAD punch. Units are configured with AGM-88E AARGM, the enhanced variant of the high-speed anti-radiation missile, capable of engaging mobile radar even after shutdown. Some Hornets carry up to 3 HARMs each, providing deep magazine capacity. In total, over 60 HARMs are available, supported by 8 additional HARMs from the Growlers. The mission load is designed to engage every known radar site in the sector at least twice, ensuring layered suppression, but with strict fire discipline. The F-22s, with their AN APG-77 AESA radar and superior kinematic performance, patrol the outer threat ring, intercepting any Iranian fighter attempt to breach the package. The strike formation spans a 60-mile front, creating overlapping sensor coverage and jamming fields. The F-35s, operating in full EMCON, emission control, continue mapping the battlespace, locating threat emitters from range. When contact is confirmed, they pass precise coordinates. FA-18s respond with harm launches from outside engagement zones, leveraging standoff to preserve platform survivability. 50 miles to the south, the Growlers initiate full-spectrum electronic attack. Each aircraft runs 3 ALQ-99 tactical jamming pods, broadcasting over 30 kilowatts across multiple bands. Iranian radar operators begin losing picture fidelity. Tracks drift, ghosts appear and vanish. Pulse repetition intervals break down. Range gate pull-off and velocity gate strobe effects distort everything. In a matter of minutes, Iran's Western IADS begins to collapse under signal saturation. What follows is not chaos, but precision through electromagnetic superiority. A carefully timed disruption, orchestrated by human crews and networked systems, operating under combat load in one of the most complex threat environments in the region. And all of it, just to clear a corridor for what comes next. Enjoying this level of detail? Smash that like button and stick around. It's about to get even heavy. 17 verse 32. A decision is made near Natanz, and it proves decisive. An S-300 battery, previously operating under strict emissions control, breaks silence. Its 30N6E2 fire control radar activates, attempting to cut through the electronic jamming saturating the battle space. The crew may be hunting for a target track. What they trigger instead is a kill chain. Within seconds, a nearby F-35, flying in passive mode, detects the radar spike. No emissions, no alerts, just sensors feeding data. That data moves instantly through Link 16. A Super Hornet, already in position, receives the firing solution. The pilot confirms. Fires. AGM-88G, airborne. Simultaneously, an EA-18G Growler joins the fight, directing focus jamming onto the radar's frequency. The missile launches, screaming to Mach 2.5 within seconds. Its millimeter wave seeker locks onto the radar's signal and stores its coordinates. When the S-300 crew powers down 15 seconds later, it's too late. The GPS-INS guidance system holds its course. Impact radius, 10 meters. The result? One radar unit eliminated. One $100 million SAM site reduced to wreckage. Across the airspace, Super Hornet pairs operate in tandem. One designates, one fires. SA-15 mobile launchers attempt to relocate, but movement generates heat. F-35 infrared sensors track them as they shift. Targeting data flows instantly. The Hornets don't hesitate. This is 5th-generation stealth, delivering firepower to 4th-generation shooters. Stealth finds, legacy fires. The result is devastating. By 1735, 31 harms have been launched. 31 enemy radar and SAM systems destroyed. But more telling, the rest have gone silent. Operators shut down before they're hunted, not by doctrine, but out of fear. The Growlers retask, switching from radar jamming to full communications suppression. VHF and UHF bands go dark. Ground-controlled intercept channels are severed. SAM site coordination collapses. Even local civilian cell networks begin to fail. Collateral effects from military jamming spilling across the spectrum. High above, F-22 Raptors maintain overwatch. Their APG-77 radars sweep for threats, but there are none. No Iranian pilot launches. No intercept attempts are made. Super Hornets, still armed with harms, orbit over their assigned strike boxes. F-35s remain on task, scanning, mapping, pushing live updates to strike planners, prioritizing follow-on targets. This isn't just suppression, it's dominance. Systemic, surgical, psychological. And it's only the opening move. If that precision strike gave you chills, from the stealth to the jamming to the kill chain, hit that like button. It tells me you want more breakdowns like this and helps this channel stay locked on target.
1739 Eastern Time.
The Western Air Corridor over Iran is declared sanitized. After more than 2 hours of coordinated SAD and electronic warfare operations, a combined force of 125 aircraft has carved a 50-mile-wide, 200-mile-deep penetration route into Iranian airspace. No surface-to-air missile has launched, no radar remains operational. Not a single Iranian fighter has taken off. Now, the strategic bombers enter the fight. Flying at high subsonic speed in 45,000 feet, the lead B-2 Spirit begins its final approach toward the Fordo nuclear enrichment complex, a deeply buried, hardened facility beneath the Carcass Mountains, protected by layers of granite and reinforced concrete. Fordo was built to survive, but not what comes next. The bomb bay doors open. Inside, the bomber carries a GBU-57A/B, massive ordnance penetrator, MOP, the largest conventional bunker-busting weapon in the U.S. inventory. Weight, 30,000 pounds. Length, 20.5 feet. Purpose-built to destroy deeply buried facilities like Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. Moments after release, the MOP stabilizes in the thin stratosphere. GPS receivers lock. Tail fins deploy, clean. Then gravity takes over. 30,000 pounds of hardened steel and high explosives begin to fall. The aircraft's fly-by-wire system instantly adjusts for the sudden weight loss, equivalent to 3 fully loaded school buses. In the cockpit, the pilot feels the jet rise slightly. In the right seat, the weapons officer confirms, "Bird away, good separation, GPS lock confirmed." The MOP plunges, accelerating to 700 miles per hour. On impact, it releases more than 1.5 billion joules of kinetic energy, enough to pulverize concrete and granite, like a freight train crashing into a steel barrier at full speed. Except this train keeps going. The warhead's casing is forged from high-grade steel alloys, similar to DU reinforced tank armor, built to resist deformation. It's designed to penetrate up to 200 feet of reinforced concrete, or 40 feet of granite before its explosive charge activates. The Fordo facility sits beneath more than 250 feet of layered protection. Rock sheeting, blast shielding, and hardened concrete. But this isn't theoretical. It's been mapped. It's been located. And now, it's exposed. 17 numbers, 43 seconds. 43 seconds after release, the first MOP hits. The impact triggers a localized seismic event, magnitude 2.3, recorded throughout the Isfahan region. But the warhead doesn't detonate on contact. That would waste its effect. Instead, the onboard hard target smart fuse counts down microseconds as the penetrator drills deeper toward the facility's core. Only upon reaching critical depth, estimated at 180 feet, does it detonate. 5,300 pounds of tritonal erupt underground. Blast cavity 30 feet in diameter. Shockwave velocity 15,000 feet per second. The overpressure doesn't just crack concrete, it overwhelms it. Concrete rated for 10,000 psi is subjected to over 100,000 psi. Structural joints collapse. Rebar shears. Internal voids vaporize into superheated dust. But the strike package doesn't rely on one bomb. It delivers 12. Each MOP is individually programmed to strike offset vectors around the Fordo core, calculated to generate overlapping blast zones, channeling pressure inward and downward, a focused geologic assault. Each of the remaining B-2s follows in sequence. Release intervals are carefully timed to avoid sympathetic interference. Impact spacing is modeled to exploit harmonic resonance within the target's underground geometry. From the ground, observers would see successive flashes, trails of light falling like re-entry vehicles, followed by thunder rolling across the highlands. From orbit, satellite imagery would show the strike zone expanding, concentric collapses radiating from a breached mountain. Operation Midnight Hammer has entered its decisive phase. Not with shock and awe, but with math, metallurgy, and seismic precision. At Natanz, the strike was precise by design. Only 2 MOPs were tasked to destroy the facility. Not because it was unimportant, but because it wasn't buried as deeply as Fordo. Still, precision was non-negotiable. Weapons officers delayed the second drop by seconds, ensuring blast waves wouldn't cancel each other out. Spacing two 30,000-pound penetrators required more than power. It required timing down to the second. Meanwhile, 700 miles away, a different kind of precision was playing out. The Tomahawk missiles launched from USS Georgia entered their final descent. For 2 hours, they'd flown nap of the Earth, navigating via GPS and terrain-matching algorithms, burning through 350 pounds of fuel each. Now, their nose cameras came online, matching live visuals with stored target imagery. The AN/DPW-23 scene matching system made its final corrections. At Isfahan, factory workers on the night shift heard the 550 miles per hour whine of incoming missiles. The Williams F-107 turbofans were unmistakable, but too fast to stop. Iran's Tor M1 point defense systems, already degraded by jamming, struggled to respond. With a 12-kilometer engagement envelope and less than 49 seconds from detection to impact, their reaction window was gone before it opened. At 19:05 Eastern Standard Time, the first Tomahawk slammed into the hexafluoride storage building. Its 1,000-pound unitary warhead vaporized not just structures, but the materials inside, unleashing a toxic, radioactive cloud that made the site a long-term exclusion zone. Over the next 45 seconds, 29 more missiles struck their assigned targets, buildings mapped out over years of satellite imagery, signals intercepts, and human intelligence. Above, the B-2s were already outbound, flying on a razor-thin fuel margin of 180,000 pounds, just enough to rendezvous with refueling assets. Below them, the results were indisputable. Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, all burning. Total time over target, 25 minutes. No SAMs launched. No Iranian aircraft scrambled. Surprise was absolute. Execution, near perfect. In just under half an hour, a covert and fortified nuclear program, decades in the making, had been reduced to rubble. This was not just a strike. It was a turning point. For years, successive U.S. administrations weighed the risks of military action against Iran's nuclear ambitions. In 25 minutes, that decision was made real, with precision, finality, and global consequence. You won't hear this on the news, but if you want war decoded with precision, please click the subscribe button. We've got more missions to unpack. Thank you.